Thanks for being with us on the opening day of competition for the Rip Curl Pro Bells Beach. We're into round one, heat number 2, featuring Sally Fitzgibbons, a former 2-time Bells champion, taking on 2 Hawaiians, Manuel from the beautiful island of Kauai and Alessa Quizon from the west side of Oahu, all fighting for a first place position to go right into round 3 with already time ticking off the clock. If you're just joining us, we had Bianca Batendog send Stephanie Gilmore and Chelsea Tuak into round 2. And they always have a big trials to work out the main event. On the women's side, it was Brisa Hennessy getting that big win in the trials to be a wild card, as she'll be coming up next as we look at the Hawaiian Malia Manuel getting her first score on the board. A couple of forehand hooks, and she'll be taking an early lead and also catching the start of Alessa Quizon out the back. Alessa into that real slow part of the wave, and she'll just hang in there to see if she'll get a little reform. Quizon now winding up, open face snap, putting another one together and a bigger wind up in the finishing section, and she'll get out of there. Ooh. And now Sally Fitzgibbons picked the wave she wanted, and she's already down the line in her final section. Little jam off the top, and Fitzgibbons is incomplete, but she did have a lot of nice work out the back to kick off this opening exchange pot.
Yeah, you know, that's what Sally does. She likes to start strong. Obviously, a couple of huge turns out the back. So
there's a period of time that there was nobody out this morning, and then Martin Potter decided to surf, and then everybody followed. This was what Malia did out the back pots.
Yeah, I love the way Malia surfs this wave. You know, she's so light on her feet, yet so powerful. And I think that's what it takes out here at Bells. You know when to tap off and tap on. You can't have the pedal to the metal the whole time. Got to just, you know, get that sort of lighted, you know, fleet-footed sort of style where kind of float across those dead sections and then draw into those big turns. So I really enjoy watching Malia out here at Bells. Yeah, super talented. I love the way she surfs. You know, when the waves get big and gnarly, she charges. Sally Fitzgibbons, late takeoff in the white water there. Sally knows exactly what kind of wave she's looking for. See how she takes her time, Joe. Not all the way to the bottom. Connects beautifully. So trying to fit those moves in, just trying to get things going. Filling in the gaps here. This is where you've just got to be light on your feet. Make sure you don't try and put too much power into your turns. Now the legs are starting to burn right about now. And Sally just coming unstuck there. So maybe first wave jitters, obviously coming off the worst result ever on the Gold Coast. Let's see if she can fix it.
It seemed like there were way more wins in the 80s for that stance, Spots.
Yeah, absolutely right. You know, more waves out the back though. Let's have a look.
This is Malia, the Hawaiian, getting down the line, a big blowtail jam off the top, and Malia Manuel pulls off a huge move. Good for one section, but throwing a little bit more progression on that big section, that grab rail blowtail. It's always fun to watch, Pots.
Yeah, you know, that's the thing with Bells though. You know, it's almost in that same category as Snapper, where if you go for that one turn and sacrifice the whole wave, you've got to make sure it's amazing, and that's exactly what she did. The judges are going to reward that. So it's going to be interesting to see where that fits in the scale. Obviously, you know, sacrificing the rest of that wave for that one big turn. We saw Joanne DeFay do something very similar on the Gold Coast.
It seemed like there were way more wins in the 80s for that stance, Spots.
Yeah, absolutely right. You know, more waves out the back though. Let's have a look.
This is Malia, the Hawaiian, getting down the line, a big blowtail jam off the top, and Malia Manuel pulls off a huge move. Good for one section, but throwing a little bit more progression on that big section, that grab rail blowtail. It's always fun to watch, Pots.
Yeah, you know, that's the thing with Bells though. You know, it's almost in that same category as Snapper, where if you go for that one turn and sacrifice the whole wave, you've got to make sure it's amazing, and that's exactly what she did. The judges are going to reward that. So it's going to be interesting to see where that fits in the scale. Obviously, you know, sacrificing the rest of that wave for that one big turn. We saw Joanne DeFay do something very similar on the Gold Coast. So I'm looking forward to seeing where the judges go with this.
Well, the interesting part is seeing this long right. The judges know they like to see waves ridden from start to finish. One maneuver section. Let's take another look.
Yeah, I think from the get-go she realized that this wasn't going to offer her too much, just building the speed and then going for that turn right there. Didn't get that full rotation, which I love. Showed complete confidence, getting those fins free, sliding backwards. You can see it not all the way at the bottom. That's where the power is, the middle of the wave. Connected perfect through the fins out, grabbed that rail just to keep herself stable above the board, comes down fins. I mean, there was so much going on there. And she manages to ride out through that avalanche of white water. So unbelievable surfing there from Malia.
A 5.67 for Malia Manuel, opened with a 3.67. And the Hawaiians sitting out front, Quizon to second, Fitzgibbons to third with more waves on the way. Priority with Quizon. With second priority, Sally is going to get started here. Hard off the bottom and a big jam under the lip. The former Bells champ now into some open face. Clean carve. And now a little bumpy section. She'll hang in there. Just keeping that board moving, swinging with that front side wrap, and she'll step off. Now keeping this one going is Alessa Quizon. Sets it up high and ends up a little bit deep on this section, and she'll have to get out of there. So 21 minutes now remaining on the clock in round one, heat number 2. Malia Manuel trying to hang on to her lead. So we saw Stephanie Gilmore, one of the high names in the sport, the greatest on tour, 6 world titles, got sent to round 2. Fitzgibbons trying to avoid that as we see this first turn again.
Yeah, look how much she just drove into that, laid that board over on the rail. A lot of bump on the face of the wave too, so took a lot of control right there from Sally. And again, just see how bumpy this wave is. Super tricky to ride. Now you just got to bide your time through this flat section here, just keeping that board moving. That's the key thing. Keep those fins engaged. Right behind her, Alessa Quizon. Nice turn there. Lost her balance a little bit, and that kind of caught her behind the whitewater. So Alessa Quizon just with a 3.68. Sort of a low scoring affair here at the moment.
As we check out this 5.67 she had earlier putts.
Yeah, this was her best ride. So Alessa Quizon, this was her opening wave. You know, she's watched Bianca. She watched the kind of waves that Bianca's catching, and that's exactly what she's got to do. Make sure she's on those medium ones, those ones that stand up a little more, which offer the goofy footers a bit more vertical face to tag it a bunch of times. So Alessa Quizon, you can see the confidence she's carrying right now. Knows the goofy footers are in flavor in round 1.
So a big start for Sally Fitzgibbons, getting the 7-point ride, low score of 4.5. Manuel sitting in the second position, and now Quizon's number looking pretty solid. A 5.84 gets the goofy foot up a spot. So we see that last, another 5.67.
She's got to crank it up. I mean, she needs to find the right wave in which to do so.
Now this is Malia Manuel on the next opportunity. Quick jam off the top, plenty open wall, and she has some speed. Quick little wrap off the top for the Hawaiian. Little section to carve underneath. Picking off a gem of a wave all the way down the line. Good timing on a tricky end section to stay on her feet. So Manuel's third wave so far. A 5.84 gets her into first.
I like the way she took her time on that one, Joe. Just eased off the bottom. Made sure she connected with the right part of the wave. I think that first turn, nice and critical, was almost a free fall drop coming out of it. So those are the ones you want on your forehand. Malia just taking her time off the bottom. And thing that you're going to notice here at Bells Beach, Joe, you don't go all the way down to the bottom and draw that deep bottom turn. It's almost like a 3/4 face bottom turn as this one. One of the second waves in the set. You can see a lot cleaner on the face, which allows her to drive into that turn. Look at this critical drop right there. Staying nice and low, keeping that low center of gravity. And again, just watch these turns here from Malia. Nice and clean, not all the way to the bottom. You can see how she adjusts mid-face so she can connect with that lip right there. Had she gone too far down, that would have been a mistimed re-entry, but finishing that one perfect.
So solid approach for Malia Manuel, getting herself on one of the bigger waves of this matchup and getting a big start and a big finish as she's on the back of the ski, waiting for her best number to come through. She's looking to better a 3.67, ultimately wanted a 5.84 for the lead, and we're going to see things change. Malia talked about wanting to stay relevant on tour. She worked hard in the offseason, and it's paying off. It's a 7.67. Manuel to first. Fitzgibbons now drops to second, needing a 6.35 putt.
Wow.
And we got to celebrate multiple wildcard entries since she's sponsored by Rip Curl over the years. She'll be one to watch later on, and this is Sally up and out. As we look at Fitzgibbons taking a look first, it's up to Quizon if she wants it. Under priority, it'll be Malia Manuel. Just a quick up and out. Nothing will be affecting the top 2 scores there. Now Quizon really liking the shape of this one for a moment. Changes her mind at the last minute. It's going to roll through. Welcome back to the 55th edition of the Rip Curl Pro Bells Beach. As we come back from break, the Hawaiian Malia Manuel trying to protect her lead out front. Beautiful rail work. She'll get a little hung up on the last rebound, but coming down with some momentum for a finish, and she jams it. Nice and solid re-entry for the Hawaiian to maintain her lead. Looking to better a 5-6-7. Now Quizon on the back end. Alessa now with that mid-face bottom turn, has to reset off the lip. Messy little section will take her out of her back end, and Quizon still chasing a 7-6-7 for the lead. Fitzgibbons still needing a 6-3-5 with 3:15 to go.
Plenty of time. I mean, you know, the finely tuned athletes, all of them. So, you know, they just want to keep that ball rolling. Try and, you know, come off snapper rocks with a good result. You want to keep that ball rolling. Let's have a look at Alessa's technique as she drives off the bottom there. I love that turn. Up and over the white water. Great positioning there from Alessa. This wave just going a little fat. This is where it's going to hurt the goofy footers. You know, you heard about Bianca talk about always constantly having to look over your shoulder. Kind of throws you off balance every now and again. So you've got to have those waves where you kind of almost don't really have to look at it. You know exactly what it's doing. Look at the size of this one. Bigger wave. Nice and clean on the face. And I love the positioning that she's got right now. Just kind of got hung up there. But look what it did for her. It actually put her in a really good position for that last turn. So she turned a mistake into something that is actually going to score quite well. She's looking to replace a 5.67. That can be close. No, but you know, you've got to kind of take something positive out of that. So it is a throwaway.
This is now Sally Fitzgibbons looking for the score to come back. She'll slip off when she was just looking for a 6.35. Now we're into the final minute pots.
Yeah, down to that last minute. This is where it all counts. Sally used priority on that wave, Joe. And that's a tactical mistake there from Fitzgibbons.
Carissa Moore not winning and carrying that momentum like she has the last couple of seasons as we run out of time.
Yeah, I've got a question for you, Joe. Has Tyler Wright worn the yellow jersey before?
We've seen her win in the past before the yellow jersey was invented.
Oh, okay.
So, but yeah, this will be this will be the first time we'll see her wearing that Jeep yellow jersey as she's coming up later on in this round. Taking that big win, it was Malia Manuel joining the upsets early this morning. Fitzgibbons will have to deal with that sudden death round 2 along with Alessa Quizon.